Very good afternoon to you and many thanks for joining us on Citizen at 1. I am Kethi Kilonzo. The case against lawyer Kethi Kilonzo started this morning in a Nairobi court with her defense team challenging the legality of the case. Top leaders from court, including former Prime Minister Raila Odinga and former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka, were present during the commencement of the case. Kethi Kilonzo, who appeared before CID yesterday, said the charges against her were unconstitutional. The court will be giving a ruling on the eligibility of the case this afternoon. But we're now joined by our reporter Jackie Maribe with the details of this case. A very good afternoon, to you, Jackie. You've been at the courts this morning. Kindly bring us up to speed with what transpired this morning and what we should be expecting this afternoon.
Indeed, Kirigo, as you have rightly mentioned, we continue to remain here live at the Milimani Court in Nairobi, where this morning at a little over 11 a.m. this morning, the Senior Principal Magistrate Doreen Mulechu was able to say that the determination of the eligibility of the case facing Kethi Kilonzo and of course whether or not she can take a plea today will be made at 2:30 this afternoon. But before that, of course, Kirigo, it is an interesting day. Once again, Kethi Kilonzo finds herself in court. She was, of course, brought by her defense counsel comprised of her brother, Senator Mutula Kilonzo Jr., the Makueni senator, who, of course, took over from her once this whole procedure or proceedings were brought against her. And Kirigo, James Orengo was there, Professor Kivutha Kibwana was there, Julie Soweto, who has been in the news, was there, of course. Dan Manzo was also there. So she has quite the defense team there. But Fred Ojambo, who is also in her team, brought during this mention to the Senior Principal Magistrate the eligibility or the legality of the charges that are being brought against Kethi Kilonzo and whether or not she should or can take this plea today. He is, of course, asking that this plea can be taken at a later date, that, of course, the Principal Magistrate can be able to determine or to defer to when the charge sheet will be able to be read to Kethi Kilonzo. The prosecution, of course, is arguing that this should be done today, and of course there's no need for the defense to be given time to present written submissions. These are things that can be presented in oral submissions. So it was a session that took a little over half an hour this morning, and so we expect to be back in court at 2:30 this afternoon. So we do urge our viewers, do keep it Citizen TV. We will be bringing you this decision live, Kirigo.
All right, thank you very much, Jackie Maribe, for that. Speaking to Jackie Maribe, who's at the Milimani Court, where the case against lawyer Kethi Kilonzo started this morning in a Nairobi court with her defense team challenging the legality of the case. The court will be giving a ruling on the eligibility of the case this afternoon, and as Jackie Maribe has said, we will be bringing you live the verdict. For now, we move on, and the recent skirmishes in Moyale have affected learning in the area, with schools remaining closed even as others reopened for the third term across the country. Religious leaders in the area blame the recent clashes that has claimed dozens of lives on tribalism and unhealthy competition for leadership.
The sun rises over Moyale, a town on Kenya's northeastern frontier bordering Ethiopia. All appears quiet, and business premises in the town remain closed. And so are schools. The effect of the clashes now becoming evident as school children stay away from schools for fear of attacks.
Today I came very early to open the school, but not even a single pupil arrived today. And as you see me, I'm standing at the gate, still expecting and hoping to get pupils.
It's the same situation in almost every other school in Moyale. Some of them are yet to unlock the padlocks on the gates, all because peace has become elusive here.
We need peace so that children can come back to school. Children have a right to live in a peaceful environment.
Here in Moyale, it's an open secret that the root cause of the latest flare-up is tribal rivalry and the ambition to hoard political leadership positions.
Tumechukua ubinadamu kuzidi mambo ya kimungu. Mambo ya mwili umetubeba zaidi ya mambo ya kiroho. Ukabila umeingia ndani ya mizizi yetu, ndani ya roho zetu, badala ya Mungu kututawala.
Msifatane nini kwa ajili ya ukabila. Ukabila si mzuri, ni chafu ambayo inanuka, mwachane.
Last Friday, a 6-hour deadly clash which started at around 6 a.m. saw 10 people killed and an unknown number of people injured. The death toll is feared to have risen during the week-long fighting in the area. At least 8,000 households with close to 50,000 people were displaced from their homes. Hundreds fled to the neighboring country of Ethiopia. Sylvia Chebet, Citizen at 1.
Police in Kitale, Trans Nzoia County have shot dead 2 people believed to be serial killers and recovered 2 AK-47 rifles with 33 rounds of ammunition in Aruba village. The 2, Samuel Wabuge and Moses Chipkosia, were shot dead during a morning raid at their hide. Confirming the incident, Trans Nzoia County Police Boss Lilian Okembo said that the 2 were on the police most wanted list for reportedly terrorizing locals of Trans Nzoia, Uasin Gishu and Kakamega County. Their bodies have been moved to Kitale District Hospital mortuary, where police continue with investigations to apprehend our accomplices.
We are giving them a warning that we will get them. And we are informing the parents. We already went to most of the homes and we informed the parents that if your son is giving you money and you're eating, you do not know where he's getting this money and he's continuing with the robberies, you will either go and visit him in prison or you'll get his body in the mortuary.
Let's now keep on the by-election watch, and the petition challenging the election of Vihiga Member of Parliament Yusuf Chanzu has been dismissed. Willis Rabura has the latest on that front.
Justice Hilary Chemitei said the election reflected the wishes of the Vihiga electorate and slapped the petitioner with cost whose taxation will be determined by the deputy registrar but should not exceed 1.5 million Kenya shillings. He said the forms are well filled and there were instances of non-compliance in transfer to Form 36 which cannot be used to dismiss an election. He termed allegations of bribery raised by the petitioner Ernest Kivai as hearsay.
No cogent evidence adduced by the petitioner and his witnesses could stand the standard of proof alluded earlier on. The petition is hereby dismissed with cause to the respondent.
The Kisumu High Court had in July thrown out an application by the Vihiga parliamentary seat loser seeking to have the constituency's votes recounted. Ernest Kivai, who filed the petition challenging the election of Yusuf Chanzu as Vihiga MP, wanted the court to compel the IEBC to produce ballot boxes, the manual register, and all materials such as Form 35 and 36 used in the election. He argued that this would help establish the validity of votes cast and security of the ballot boxes. Justice Hilary Chemitei dismissed Kivai's application, saying the petitioner included in his application new allegations that were not in the affidavit he had earlier filed before the court. Kivai, through lawyer Joseph Amondi, alleged that on March 3rd, Chanzu organized a meeting with IEBC officials and the poll security team at a local school head teacher's home. However, Chanzu denied knowledge of any meeting, saying he had never had any encounter with the returning officer. He said he only met him when he presented nomination papers. Amondi alleged that Chanzu was under instructions to marshal IEBC and the Vihiga security team to do anything at his disposal to ensure that the United Democratic Front Party beat ODM in the Vihiga polls.
So I think it should be a lesson, and I want to also to praise and congratulate the courts. The way they have been, this court has been expeditious, they have done quickly, and this I think goes a long way as a commendable job done by the judiciary as a whole.
Willis Raburu, Citizen at 1.
The director of the city-to-city bus company that claimed 42 lives at Ntulele along Narok-Nairobi Highway has been charged before a Narok court with 4 counts. Mohammed Abdi Nasir Sheikh, who appeared before Narok resident magistrate Zainab Mohammed, denied all the charges. In the first count, the court was told that Abdi Nasir permitted an unroadworthy motor vehicle to be used on a public road. According to the police, the vehicle was not fitted with a speed governor, had leaking rear shock absorbers, seatbelts were missing, and 2 rear tires were worn out. The second count, Abdi Nasir was accused of failing to keep records of an employed driver who drove the ill-fated bus. On the third count, it read that Abdi Nasir allowed the bus to ferry people without a road service license. Abdi Nasir was also accused of permitting the use of a public service vehicle without an inspection sticker. In another development, lawyer Cliff Ombeta told the court that they know the whereabouts of the driver and they are ready to produce him. He said that they contacted the driver this morning and told him to surrender himself to the police. Ombeta pledged to ensure the driver presents himself to the police to allow them to charge him before the court. The bus director was released on a 500,000 shilling bond with a surety of a similar amount on a cash bail of 300,000 shillings.
Sisi hatuna uwezo wa kuweza kumzuia kutoroka, lakini kwa wakati huu vile tumeweza kuzungumza naye, akija tutamleta naye aweze kujibu mashtaka.
And the case will be heard on the 12th of November. Nairobi Women Representative Rachel Shebesh has backed plans by Jubilee MPs to have Kenya withdraw from the Rome Statute that established the International Criminal Court. Shebesh says Kenya should not allow its president and his deputy to be charged in The Hague. Her comments come a day after Jubilee MPs announced their plans to reconvene Parliament to pave way for the pull out from the ICC.
I'm asking, how long will we be quiet about the ICC and where Kenya is today? Kenya was somewhere else in 2002. Kenya was somewhere else in 2007. Kenya is somewhere else today in 2013. But nobody wants to admit that we have a president and a deputy president who will be sitting at a court in the ICC, and yet we say we have a country that we want to move forward. How exactly do we want to move forward? We don't speak.
Land transactions in Kajiado County have come under sharp scrutiny from the county administration after complaints by families that a head of families was selling land without the consent of family members. Kajiado County Commissioner Albert Kobia has now urged land buyers in Kajiado County to ensure they get consent of all family members before purchasing any land to avoid conflicts.
As Nairobi expands, many of its residents are seeking areas outside its city limits to settle into. Kajiado County offers a ready option due to its favorable climate. This, however, has brought about its own set of complications as heads of families stand accused of selling off portions of land without the consent of their dependents. For Kajiado County Commissioner Albert Kobia, such a practice is putting a strain on the society as a push for modernity clashes with cultural practices. Chairing a meeting that brought together county administration officers in Masai Technical Hall in Kajiado town, the county commissioners asked the officers to be on the lookout for land grabbers who are out to gain from the land rush and who take advantage of weakened cultural structures.
Kama hapa Kajiado tunaelezewa kwamba ardhi ilipeanwa mpaka hatuna pahali pa kujenga county headquarters, na tukaguzia hilo jambo na tukasema kwamba plani ya serikali ya mtaa wa Kajiado town ni kama ilivyokuwa 2002.
He urged the officers to ensure that the extended family of the individual selling land is aware and has consented to the transaction. Chris Ongombe, Citizen at 1.
Now, for many youth, keeping off drugs is an everyday struggle, especially because many factors such as peer pressure, and flashy drug marketing conspire to expose them to drugs. And for those unfortunately addicted to drugs, pulling out of the habit is a continuous fight between the desire to reclaim their sobriety and the false relief and temporarily excitement that is typical with drugs. Most addicts blame circumstances beyond their control for their habits. Now, Evelyn Mamboy shares the stories of substance abusers and their path to rise above their abuse.
A young man tightly ties his right arm with the remains of a torn blue piece of fabric. But it is not the resultant bulge of the blood veins that draws you, but the dark marks lined up along the skin surface. Needle marks that make it all too clear that this particular arm has witnessed this many times before. It is aboard this old stationary boat in Malindi's Shella Beach that the young man and his friends spent days on end. An array of drug substances sits next to them. Bang, cocaine, heroin. Engaging them for hours on end, enough to leave them disillusioned, hypnotic even. This is us at our best, they tell us though, when we ask if they are in a position to speak coherently to us.
Leo unaanza kuvuta sigara, kesho bangi, kesho kutwa, naanzia hivyo hivyo mara mpaka unavuta unga.
They each have a story about how they were drawn into the world of drugs and substance abuse.
Anaweza nikaiuza mimi kwa shilingi kwa mgeni nikapata paka 500.
This man, for example, tells how he sold such handmade shell necklaces and boats to earn a living until a friend approached him with a more lucrative business idea.
Mambo ya unga, haya madawa kulevya haya, nilikuwa siyajui. Lakini nikapata rafiki ambaye yeye alikuwa ndio biashara yake. Akaanza kunisifia.
He brags how the business brought him up to 4,000 shillings a day as compared to his handicraft that brought him less than 500 shillings. That was until he decided to sample his goods.
Wakati nafunga na mimi naonja kidogo kidogo. Wakati nafunga na mimi naonja kidogo kidogo. Ukishtuka kimeniingia kwa mwili.
Today, he tries desperately to return to his handicraft business, but many have since dismissed him as a user. Most of such users lined up on street corners and yards across Malindi confess to wanting to quit, but find it too difficult an endeavor, the world of drugs sucking them deeper in every day. Another right hand introduces us to yet another individual, only that this right hand is smoother and lacking in the characteristic dark needle marks, as clear as the path taken by this 29-year-old who decided to quit drugs 3 years ago. Her journey to this point, beginning with her boyfriend, who she says introduced her to heroin.
Sikujua nimeanza, juu nilikuwa tu navuta bangi, but kulikuwa na difference. Ile bangi nilikuwa na bai mahali nilikuwa naishi, na yenye boyfriend yangu alikuwa anakaa nayo kwa nyumba. Ilikuwa okay, nikitumia yangu si feel vile na feel ile ingine. So after some time ndio nikalan kuna kitu yo mix nayo. Ndio sana nikajua ni dawa. Yeah, na hakuna kitu ningedo, already nilikuwa ndani.
She was jobless, and so was her boyfriend, forcing him to engage in petty crime to sustain their addiction. It was only after she fell pregnant that she and her boyfriend decided to quit, a path they reluctantly took at first, forced by the doctor, but which today she remains glad to have taken.
Inakuwa ndani yako, change ni wewe. Because mimi nilikuwa nataka kuchange seriously, na venye nililana tumia dawa, sikuwa okay, nilifeel vibaya. So nilikuwa nataka kutoka hapo.
Today, and this 29-year-old who insisted we do not reveal her identity to allow her to continue with her new life without the stigma associated with substance abuse, is an outreach worker, using her time to talk to other addicts in her neighborhood in the hope that they too will reform.
Unajua wengi, by the way, isipokuwa ni vile tu hatuwezi jua ama waambie kila mtu. Wengi, majority 90% utakaga kutoka kwa dawa. Ni vile tu wako anajipata maybe haizi sijui, but kuna vile wao ushindwa kutoka.
The challenge of rising above the influence, that which millions continue to fight, even as millions more continue to get sucked in. A cycle whose picture spreads out of the designated socio-economic frame and which begs a holistic approach in dealing with. Evelyn Wambui, Citizen TV.
Former Ndaragwa Member of Parliament Jeremiah Kioni has urged leaders to give the government room and space to deliver its pre-election pledges instead of focusing on politics. Kioni, who was speaking at the Laikipia University where he graced the ceremony to launch the first registration of new students since the institution of higher learning was upgraded to a fully fledged university, he urged Kenyans to support the government to ensure they fulfill their promises.
important that we allow education, we allow the young people to also grow in terms of education. If we are permanently politicking, even matters of education in the country will suffer. The growth of institutions like this one will suffer.
We would like them to do even more by teaming up with the county government to change the fortunes of education in Laikipia North.
We are now strategically positioned, especially looking at the larger Laikipia. This is what I would say a cosmopolitan county.
This is the first intake for us as a fully fledged university. But recall that we have also been admitting, like last year, JAB gave us 1,200 students. And that time we were Laikipia University College, which then was Constituents College of Egerton University.
Well, time to catch your breather now, but I'll be back with business news as well as sports news. Don't go too far.